So my name is Pawan Taparia. I'm the product manager for the extensibility of Power Virtual Agents, and I'm super excited to be joining with my colleagues, my partners in crime who've made this feature possible. Salem and Ryan have been core engineers who've built this. So if there's any questions that you would like to have asked about skills and how do you embed it, how do you integrate it, these are the right people to give you the right answers. So my goal today is to sort of give you guys an overview of what Bot Framework Skills is. How do customers plan to use this with Power Virtual Agents? We talk a lot about no-cliff extensibility, no-cliff development in Power Platform, and Bot Framework Skills is our story for a no-cliff bot building experience. So let me start a little bit about Power Virtual Agents. Power Virtual Agents is the newest family member in Power Platform. We are basically building a no-code experience to help you build a conversational experience. We empower your subject matter experts, your people, to drive more business value by creating, natural experiences, natural conversational experiences through bots. And so that's sort of the vision. When you talk about what our vision is, we really want to build a bot that your customers, your end users can engage naturally with, right? We can extract relevant information from what they naturally communicate with, and we can use that information to do task-based, bots that can sort of do something on behalf of them. We really want to democratize AI, where we take the expertise that the company has built and make it seamlessly available to users that may not be exposed to machine learning or data science. Because the experience is so natural, citizen users can leverage this capability right out of the box. The promise of AI is that it will continuously improve, it will continuously evolve, we won't cover this today, but you'll see features that we will introduce where we will continue to be able to extract information from websites to suggest topics for you. And things like that, and we will continuously make the bot smarter and smarter on behalf of you. Okay, so I just basically covered. This is our mission statement. This is what we are doing.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you. We want to engage. We want to build bots that engage naturally with your end users. We want to democratize AI. We want to continuously keep improving the bots so that it continues to serve useful and helpful content back to your users. And the last and most important thing, this is one of the learnings that we've had with our current engagements. You can't just build a bot that gives you information. You want a bot that can take action on behalf of the user and do things for the user so that they can feel productive engaging with the bot. And so we will continue to make improvements where the bot can do more and more on behalf of the user that's interacting with the bot. When I talk about extensibility, this is my favorite, image. This is how you want to think about Power Virtual Agents. We're sort of sitting on the top of the, pyramid here. We're an application that is leveraging all of Power Platform, all of Bot Framework, all of Azure. And so think of us as, basically we're the application that can seamlessly extend to any of these, platforms that we are sitting on top of. And today's session is essentially talking about how do we seamlessly extend your bot with Bot Framework Skills, which is in this particular chart is second from the bottom. But before I jump into skills, a lot of people there's a lot of confusion around flows and skills, and so I wanted to sort of demystify that by walking through how do you differentiate flows and skills. And so I broke it down into four different categories in terms of personas, conversation, responses that are possible between flows and skills, and actions that you can do with flows and skills. So let's start with the first one. Flows are for personas. Flows are best when your bot authors can just go into a Power Automate, build a flow, and then embed that flow into Power Virtual Agents. That it just works naturally there. Skills are best for developers who sort of understand the schemas and the message activities and all the things that Bot Framework provides as part of their SDK, that they can go and create and deploy and host custom skills in their own environment. So it's mostly for developers. On the conversation category, Flows are best when you're triggering, simple single turn operations. For example, place an order, and then the order has 5 different inputs and 2 different outputs. You can, and it's just a single API call. Leverage flows for that. However, skills can handle more complex multi-turn operations. For example, scheduling a meeting or book a flight. And you'll see some of the examples in the demo that I have for you guys today. In terms of responses, flows are best for, if you just want to have a simple bot response. For example, you want to get, the last date that the user, the details of an order that was placed. Is the order completed or not completed, right? Those are the kind of things that flows are best for. However, skills can support any bot response today. So if you want to have a skill that wants to return an adaptive card, you can build a skill that returns an adaptive card, and that will show nicely on the canvas. On the last point, actions. You can use flows to trigger server-side single-turn actions. For example, call an HTTP or an API endpoint. However, skills can not only trigger server-side actions, but it also can trigger client-side events and actions if the canvas that you are hosting the bot in is a custom canvas, and we do support custom canvas, but we can talk about that later. So that's sort of how you want to differentiate between flow actions and skill actions. Okay, enough talking. Let's do a demo. So okay, hopefully people cannot see my screen. Let me
slides. Bart asked, can we get a copy of the slides? Bart, yeah, I'll put them in the community, the same place that actually we have that gallery. I'll place them there. Providing Pawan is okay with that.
That should be fine. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see my screen. I'm signed in, into Power Virtual Agents. I've created a new bot. I navigate to manage skills. And the first skill I'm going to add is a skill that actually Salem built. It's an insurance skill. So I'm going to click on add. I'm going through the process. Every skill has a manifest. That manifest sort of defines what are the actions that particular skill can do, what are the inputs, what are the outputs. So it's basically, your skill developer is essentially going to be, talking about that. So I'm just going to go ahead and enter that skill. It's a URL, it's a JSON. What we do first is we validate that particular JSON. We bring it in, we see that this, what are the right, inputs and outputs into that skill, and we validate it. Once it's validated, we save it and we import it and we register that particular skill for this particular bot.
So one of the questions is, can you do a little bit of a level set of what skills are? So is this a new thing?
So skills are new as of GA, which was in December. And the only thing that's new today, which I will talk about, is that skills is going GA. So skills was private preview when rest of Power Virtual Agents was GA in December. And then in terms of level setting, think of skills as an extensible way to trigger multi-turn complex actions that your bot cannot do through a flow today. All right, so this skill that I just imported is called Insurance Skill Migrated Bot, has 3 actions called check insurance, get auto quote, update insurance. Now think of these as actions, right? But these are complex multi-turn actions, and you'll see me use one of them. So I'm going to go ahead into topics. I click a new topic. I want to say get insurance quote. And I'm going to type in all the utterances for this particular thing. Okay, sure, I can help with that. Let's trigger in a new action. And what you can see is it's just available in colon action. So now you can see that I have access to these 3 different skills or skill actions. And I'm going to pick one that says give you a car insurance quote. Now, what you can see is that this particular skill requires an input. It's a Boolean type that says it's, whether you're getting a car insurance or not. So given that I don't have any variable, there are no available variables, so I cannot really trigger this skill. So I'm going to ask a question to the user. Are you looking for car insurance? I move to Boolean. And then I pass that variable here. And then you'll notice that this skill is giving me two outputs. One, it's giving me price, and the other one's giving me details. So what I can do with that is I can simply create a message node, and here are your price. And I can just put it the price.
Insurance.
If I can learn how to type. Yeah. There you go. And then I just wire this up to end of conversation survey. And I have a topic that is built that is triggering that is basically leveraging a skill. So let's see, how do we put this into practice? I hit save. So first thing I want you to notice, my trigger phrase, buy an auto insurance, is not one of the listed trigger phrases. This is sort of highlighting the advanced capability of our AI model, where we sort of semantically match users' trigger utterance, and you don't have to have an exhaustive list of trigger phrases in your topic. With just two trigger phrases, it's able to match the topic with high confidence. All right, so what you notice, it's asking me, it's currently waiting for an answer. Are you looking for car insurance? I say yes. And then what it's doing underneath the covers is actually triggering that skill that is hosted in a completely different environment through an API call. And that skill is returning conversations that are naturally showing up in the canvas. I mean, as a C2 user, I had to do nothing, or I did not know about how this conversation is built. So in this case, it says, what is your make? I would say make is a Honda. It'll ask me, wait for it. Again, this conversation is now happening directly with the skill. PVA becomes a relay. And every conversation that's happening between the user and the bot is now going directly to the skill. What is your model of your Honda? I would say Odyssey. Is the year, say 2019. So it's collecting information back and forth, and then it comes back with the response. You saw the multi-turn nature of skills. It can go back and forth. Now, some may argue that this can be built easily with PVA. Absolutely. And so we'll show you another little bit more complicated scenario that makes better sense for skills. But this is sort of the high-level idea of how you take a skill that is completely hosted outside, and then you're able to naturally interact with that skill through the same canvas that your users are accustomed to. Let's go ahead and add another skill. So this particular skill, this is a flight booking skill. And so this is a little bit more complicated because it takes, you'll see how it works. So I'm just going to go ahead and import this the same way I imported the insurance skill. This flight skill also has three actions: book a flight, get service, and a pass-through message.
Residrani has an interesting question. I hope you don't mind if I interrupt. Now, when you hand it off, does that count as another interaction when we go out and say a number of interactions, or do you know?
When you hand off to what?
To a skill. Was that a separate interaction, or is that considered part of the licensing of the original?
It's part of the original.
Okay.
So it's the same conversation that you're in.
Yep. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm just creating a new topic called book a flight. I added some trigger phrases to it, and now I'm going to trigger. And then I'm going to go ahead and trigger action. So this, I'm going to show you a new, I'm basically going to do a pass-through action, but I'll talk about it as we go through. This is a new feature with skills going GA, so just follow along. See the question about. So with this new feature,
Questions.
we are, so I have this topic. Now I'm going to go ahead and simply say book a flight. And the new feature that we are introducing is called, so we support the ability to trigger, or pass through the user's past utterance directly to the skill. So I type book a flight. Book a flight triggered the PVA topic book a flight. It says, sure, I can help you book a flight. But now when it triggered the action, the skill got the entire triggered utterance called book a flight. So for scenarios where you want the skill to do some advanced NLU or entity extraction with the user's last triggered utterance, they can now do that, right? So this, I mean, this is an example that we did with this particular skill where it was echoing what the user typed in. So basically, you can see that you said this book a flight, and book a flight was what I entered the thing with, and we can go back with. And now it's triggered a skill action within that particular topic. So I can say November 3rd to November 10th. Where are you traveling? And you say, I want to travel to Tampa. And then you'll notice that that particular skill is returning an adaptive card, right? To the point that I made earlier, that the response types that can be supported through skills is more advanced than what we can support just out of the box through Flow and through Flow today. So this is an example of how a skill can take a trigger utterance, get the trigger utterance that the user asked within a PVA topic. Can do entity extraction, some advanced NLU, and then return and engage with the user and return some advanced response types. So that's sort of the demo for skills. Okay, wanted to jump back to our slides. So happy to inform everybody, Skill is going to be generally available. We are on the ramp activity to start deploying this worldwide. It will start on the 20th and it will sort of, be everywhere by the 23rd or the 24th. So what's new with Skills going GA? One, it's super easy to build a new skill, and we'll talk a little bit about what the work that our amazing bot framework team is doing to make it easier for any developer out there to go build skills. We just looked at this example of how it's simple enough to seamlessly pass the user's utterance to your skill. And then we'll also talk about there are some updates to the manifest with Skill 2.0 and what those are and what's compatible with PVA. The one note that I want to absolutely make sure that you guys hear and understand is the old skills that were built on the Bot Framework Solutions package will no longer work. And they will no longer work because Bot Framework SDK has made skills a native, core item component in their SDK. And so we no longer need a custom NuGet or a solutions package to be able to go build skills. It's natively part of the SDK today. So you get all backward compatibility, you get all sorts of support from the Bot Framework, from the Bot Framework team. So it's all good. Okay, let's just quickly talk about easy to develop new skills. Like I said, Skills is now a core part of the Bot Framework SDK. Every new Bot Framework bot that you built with this new SDK is also a skill just out of the box. Sorry, Salem, go ahead.
Let me jump in here, Pawan. So yes, you can create a skill in C#, but as well you can create a skill using JavaScript or Node, basically. So these skills that you saw out there, we can create them replicate these in JavaScript. So it doesn't have to be from C# to C#. It can be C# to Node. So
yep,
it's completely cross-platform, basically.
Yeah, and not only can you build new Bot Framework bots that are skills out of the box that can be made compatible with PVA, but even existing bots that are out there, right? You may have existing PaaS customers that are leveraging bots with Bot Framework. They can start leveraging Power Virtual Agents for maybe their subject matter experts, right? And without any loss in functionality. So that's what's possible with skills. And these links are available for helping wherever you are in the journey, either you're ready to build new skills or upgrade existing skills. These links will provide you with the right guidance to sort of help you take that journey. The other thing that we looked at is, if your skill is the first node of your topic, then the user's last utterance can seamlessly pass through to a skill, and the skill can do its own advanced NLU entity extraction to allow the skill developer to offer a more natural and a personalized dialogue experience. And Skill Manifest 2.0 contains some new properties. We support all of them as part of the solutions package, but message activity is the new one. Message activity allows you to sort of send whatever the user's last utterance was back to the skill, so that it requires a new manifest update to include that any skill action that can take in a message activity, we will pass through the last utterance to that particular skill action. So these are the sort of corresponding updates that we've made to make skills better for all of you. That's all I had to cover. So if you have more information that you want to learn more about Power Virtual Agents, please visit, and I'll share the deck with you guys so you can click on these links. But that's all I wanted to cover today.
So these guys have been doing an awesome job of answering the questions in situ, but they probably won't be in the audio track. So let's see if we can actually run off some of them for you to actually go out and put on the audio track for us. So Reza Durrani from Texas asks, will Flow support adaptive card responses to PVA in the future?
Well, so we are looking to enable Flow to return adaptive cards. That's a roadmap item.
Yes.
And you will see the updates into our release plan. So please make sure you stay tuned to that particular location.
So if you guys don't have that link, it's ak.ms/business apps release notes. It's 500 pages of your favorite PDF, and these guys spend a lot of time on it, so do look at it. Reza goes on to say, can a PVA call another handoff to another PVA?
No, we cannot. So, right now, we cannot actually hand off from one PVA to another.
So it's nuanced, though.
There's some things we can do, like another bot in the middle that can route to another bot. But right now, no. It might be something on the roadmap. We can think about it.
Arafat says he loves the new note section. That was great. Mike asks, can companies make skills for sale? Is that a commercial offering that I could go out and make for sale?
So you want to sort of partner, become a reseller of Power Virtual Agents?
Yes, and specifically offer it as a skill.
I mean, that's an interesting scenario. We are looking to do something with ALM, where application lifecycle management, where this may be possible. However, I would defer to I can connect you with the right people to engage further on that particular.
Yeah. So what Pawan's talking about is we have to be able to share. We have to be able to put it in solutions, and there's work that these guys are actually doing right now to make that happen. None of that's going to land before April, so it is on the roadmap, Mike, and it is something that they certainly want to do. And then AppSource comes after that. Okay, great questions. Thomas, is there such a thing as global variables coming, so you'll be able to call another conversation past data from the current? So how's that different from passing it from a canvas?
So you're absolutely correct. Contextual variables or passing of context variables and global variables are very similar in nature in the scenarios that they enable. And so both are being worked on and will be part of our roadmap. You will hear about it soon. It is an important feature that we're working on.
Okay. You guys were answering questions. Did I miss one? So one of the ones was, the implementation of where I write the skill, does that impact whether or not I call it from PVA? So can I write a C# or a skill in Python or TS or Node? And it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
These are contracts that literally moot the implementation itself. So that was asked a couple times. Is there any way for non-developers to create skills like drag and drop? Thomas, this is actually a high code or a pro code scenario right now.
Yeah, it's a pro code. We are working with Bot Framework team to essentially make the onboarding of the pro code scenario a little bit better. There will be a Visual Studio template file that you'll be able to just double click on, open the entire skill thing in Visual Studio. But that's the pro code nature of things. So. Okay.
And that's a point in time. Obviously, as we work on calling PVA from PVA and daisy chaining those, that will actually kind of moot it. It'll actually solve that problem. Okay. Salem goes out and says, here's the code for the Python support. Pat asks, can we link and integrate with Q&A Maker KB? I don't know Q&A Maker.
You can have your skills, yeah.
Yeah, so we are very well aware of Q&A Maker, and that's the beautiful thing about Microsoft, and the conversational AI, cross company team. We work very closely with each other, right? I mean, so yes, Q&A Maker can be called. You can call it through a flow action today, or because Q&A Maker has the multi-turn support, you can also call it through a skill. So that's completely possible.
David Moss goes out. Hey, David, I haven't talked to you in quite a while. I hope you're doing okay in the UK. Can we put
doing
virtual
fine, Charles.
agents?
And you? Thanks.
Can we put a virtual agents in a Power Portal? Yes. iFrame is one of the components. It's actually one of my favorite demos. It's one of the easiest in the world. Additionally, you can actually put them into a Canvas app. Yash has got a PCF control for that. And Mike is 90% towards actually having a Power BI custom visual. I want to repeat that again. A Power BI custom visual to host a Power Virtual Agent bot for Power BI.
That's awesome.
So that's the chat that you saw. Maybe me and Mike going back and forth on what he's working on. Okay, so can PVA integrate into cognitive services?
I guess yes, because if we can, cognitive services are an API. Think of them as a platform that supports, a bunch of APIs. If you want to call that API through a flow, absolutely. If you want to call it through a skill, absolutely. So yes.
Nataraj is asking, is it possible to build and test skills locally using the Bot Framework Composer plus the Bot Framework Emulator?
Salem?
Yep. You can definitely build a skill locally. With the Bot Framework Composer, I think it's still in preview mode to build a skill there, but you can definitely build it using regular like C# tools basically, or whatever you want, and test it locally and then deploy it and integrate with PVA.
Great.
Tom goes on to ask, Tom, thank you for joining us. I haven't seen you on the call before. Can you get users' information from the Teams channel in PVA? So I think that was actually what you were showing me with the authenticate.
You need to log in you need to request for the user to log in for now.
Yeah. So what's supported today is the ability for the user, for the bot to, go through an auth flow on behalf of the user. So the users have to enter the credentials. And then, once the user is authenticated, then we can make graph API calls and get information on behalf of the user.
All right. So Ryan and Salem, did I miss any? I know there was lots and lots of stuff in here.
Yep.
If I did, guys, can you paste it at the bottom? What we'll do is we'll take a couple of minutes and we'll actually see if there's anything else. Otherwise, maybe we'll give it back to Pawan to close.
You got great reactions.
Yeah, lots of thumbs ups. Too bad we don't get paid by the thumbs up. Lisa did ask that you mentioned a C2 user. Do you know what that was?
Sorry, what a C2 user is? Sorry, I was throwing terminology at you guys, and I apologize. C1 for us means the first customer, right? This is the actual customer who's a bot author, who's signing into PVA, building the topics, building the dialogues. C2 is customer of customer, C1, C2. And so C2 is the customer of customer who's essentially interacting with the bot through the canvas.
Okay. Mariano, I'm sorry I missed your question, my friend. It says, do you need to continue building adaptive cards at adaptivecards.io?
Actually, this is where I go actually to build these.
I think that it's an excellent
tool.
They've done an amazing job, and I would not want to not use it.
Okay. All right. Oh, well, if there's nothing else, I'm going to give 30 minutes back, and I'm going to let you close.
Yeah, so I just wanted to prove that, we are very proud in saying that, with Power Virtual Agents, you have limitless extensibility, and there is no cliffs in your bot building journey. The only advantage, the advantages that you see here is that, your subject matter experts are now empowered to go build bots without having to worry about, will this continue to serve my scenario 6 months or a year down the line? And so this is why we feel so empowered to building this tool for you guys, because we know there is no limit to what the customer can do with this. So with that, I just wanted to close, and thank you very much, Charles, for hosting this. I'm happy to also announce that Skills is now GA, so I'm super excited to see what you guys do with it.